Hello and welcome to the presentation of using the dot method to solve subtraction problems. And in my last video, I was just showing you how to use the dot method to solve addition problems. And now let's just use it to solve subtraction. So so let me just tell you that the method I'm going to teach you it's basically good when you're subtracting small numbers from big numbers. And in this method, when a big number has to be subtracted from a small number, we have to borrow a value of 10 from the adjacent digit on the left-hand side, and that borrowed number is added to the smaller number and the bigger number is subtracted. So let's just start off with this problem. 300 minus 168, and the first step is that we have to subtract 8 from 0. That is that we have to subtract the bigger number from the smaller number. And the thing to remember in the dot method is that whenever we're using it for subtraction, we're always going to subtract the bigger number in the column from the smaller number in the column, and it doesn't really matter which position it's on, if it's on the bottom or if it's on the top. And when we have to subtract a bigger number from a smaller number, we use the dot method. That is that we put a dot on the digit which is on the left-hand side of the bigger number. So let me just write down 168, because 8 is the bigger number. And the number that's on the left-hand side of 8 over here is 6. It's LHS. And here we have to borrow a value of 10 when we're subtracting a bigger number from a smaller number. So we have to borrow a value of 10 from 6. And to indicate this, we put a dot over 6. Let's just put a dot over there. And that basically makes this value, let's say, this adds this to 0, making it 10. It's not really a 10, it's just we think about it as a 10. Just think about this as 10 plus 0, which is 0. So we have to find 8 plus what equals 10. We have to find what plus 8 equals 10. So 8 plus 1 equals 9. That does not equal 10. 8 plus 2, however, does equal 10. So this number over here, 2, is 10's complement of 8. It's 10's complement of 8. And we have to add this 2 to the digit above 8, and that's 0. So 2 plus 0, which is equal to 2. And the digit we have chosen here, this digit has to be placed over here. That's the units digit of the answer. So let's just move on to the next column, the tens column. Now let's first look at the dot above 6. And this dot can be thought of as a 1 now. This dot can be thought of as a 1. So we have to add 6 plus the dot. 6 plus 1. 6 plus 1, which equals 7. And 7 is greater than 0. And we have to subtract the bigger number 7 from the small number 0. And remember, we always have to put a dot on the left-hand side digit of the bigger number. Left-hand side digit of 6 is 1. So let's put a dot on the 1 over here. And when we're putting the dot on the 1, we're borrowing a value of 10 to this. So 10 plus 0 is 10. So 10, what plus 7 equals the 10 over here? Let's just put 10. We're not really minusing it. What plus 7 equals 10? And that is 3. 7 plus 3 equals 10. And so this is the digit we have to add to the 0 now. We have to add to the 0. So 3 plus 0 equals 3. And the reason that we're adding it is because the 0 is the digit above the 6. we go, 3. Now let's move on to the last column. And let's just look at the dot above 1. There's one dot, so 1 plus 1, which equals 2. And this is pretty basic because 3 is the bigger number. 2 is lesser than 3. 2 is lesser than 3. And so we just have to subtract 3 from 2. 3 minus 2, which is equal to 1. And that's the answer, 132. And that's what we get when we subtract 300 from 168. We get 132. And just try out the answer, and then you'll see this is correct. And if you didn't get it, let's just do one more problem real quick. And let's just do one. Okay, here's our other problem. 410 minus 156. If you want, go ahead and pause it, try it out, and if you don't get it, that's fine. I'll just show you how to do it. So the first thing we have to do is, which is bigger in the units column? 6 or 0? 6 is greater than 0. So we have to put a dot on the left, the digit adjacent to 6 on the left hand side. That's 5. Let's put the dot right here. And that means we brought a value of 10 to that 0. So we have to sign 6 plus what equals 10. And 6 plus 4 equals 10. And that means that 10's complement of 6 is 4. And this 4 over here has to be added to the 0 over here. And that means 4 plus 0, which is equal to 4. And that's the digit we keep over here. Now let's move on to the tens column. And this is where things may get a little tricky. Remember, we have the dot over 5. And that means that it's 5 plus 1. Equals 6. And when we're subtracting the bigger number from the smaller number, and 6 is greater than 1, we have to put the dot on the left hand side digit, which is 1. So let's just put the 1 here. Let's put the dot here. And remember, it's not just putting a dot when we have the bigger number subtracted from the smaller number. It's also to indicate we're borrowing a value of 10. We're borrowing a value of 10, which makes this 11. So we have to find 11's complement of 5. Or 6's actually, because there's a dot over it. 11's complement of 6. So what plus 6 equals 11? And the answer to that is 6 plus 5 equals 11. And that means that 11's complement of 6 is 5. So this digit is the digit we've got to keep over here. We've got to just keep this digit here. There we go. So let's just put 5 over there. 5. Now let's move on to the next, the hundreds column. Here we go. And this is pretty simple. It's just it's actually really simple. It's just we have to minus 4 minus 1 plus 1, which is equal to 2. So just put the 2 here. And let's just add this to see if it's correct. Let's do it real quick over here. 254 plus 156. 0, 1, 1 plus 5, 6, 11, 1, 1, 1 plus 2, 3, 4. And that is, what do you know? 410. Same here. And that's how you use the dot method to solve basic problems in subtraction. It's a very easy, very fast, very quick way to do subtraction, and I hope you've learned a lot from it. And I'm going to be doing more videos on subtraction in my next video, so stay tuned.